headlines. High payment of tax has triggered local riot and nationwide protests.
Greece facing financial crisis due to highly increasing in government debt since 2008.
Current inflation rate for Greece is 0.31%, but in 2010, Greece has faced the highest inflation rate, which is 4.71%.
Greek government debt crisis has led to increasing in unemployment rate.
We will now continue with our reporter in charge, Ms. Farah Wahidah.
Thank you, Ms. Ellysa and Ms. Puteri. So, the anti-austerity movement in Greece involved a series of demonstrations and general strikes that took place across the country. The events, which began on 5 May 2010, were provoked by plans to cut public spending and raise taxes as austerity measures in exchange for a 110 billion bailout, aimed at solving the Greek government debt crisis. 3 people were killed on 5 May in one of the largest demonstrations in Greece since 1973. In 2009, Eurostat methodology discovered that the government debt was finally raised from 269.3 billion to 299.7 billion, about 11 higher than previously reported. Due to that, the government widening the bond yield, rising costs of risk insurance on credit default swaps, enacted tax increase by 12 times, and cut the government spending. Those conditions triggered local riots and nationwide protests in 2010 until 2016.
We are now contacting the financial analyst of Greece to know deeper about the crisis. Hello? You there?
Hello, we are connected now. I will brief you about financial crisis in Greece. Starting in 2008, Greece faced a great financial crisis. The debt crisis is the dangerous amount that owned by Europe Union between 2008 and 2018. In 2010, Greece said it might default on its debts, that threatening the viability of Eurozone itself. However, to avoid default, the Europe Union loaned Greece enough to continue making payments, and it was the biggest financial rescue of bankrupt country in history. Besides that, in 2019, Greece only repaid for 41.6 billion euro and it has scheduled debt payment until 2060. The crisis triggered the Eurozone debt crisis, that creating the fears that it will spread into a global financial crisis. Recent research from 2006, the development of industry and further development of shipping in agriculture economy that will affect the calculating average rate per capita GDP growth between 1833 and 1911. That was slightly lower than other Western Europe nations. I think that's all for the financial crisis in Greece.
In 2010, the highest inflation rate was recorded, which is 4.71%. It was due to the Greece government debt crisis.
Next is the factors that are affecting the inflation rate to increase in Greece. It is the budget compliance. Budget compliance was acknowledged to need an improvement. In 2009, it was found that to be a lot worse than normal due to the political election. So, the government wanted to strengthen the monitoring system in 2010. Their GDP growth also worsened. GDP growth is lower than Greek National Statistical Agency. The Ministry of Finance of Greece has reduced the salaries and bureaucracy. He also redirected the governmental spending from non-growth sectors such as military into the growth stimulating sector. Next, the internal factor of inflation rate increasing in Greece is their government spending. Greece had budget surplus from 1960 to 1973, but thereafter it had budget deficits. From 1974 to 1980, the government had budget deficits below 3% of GDP, while 1981 until 2013, deficits were above 3%. In 2008, Greece was the largest importer of conventional weapons in Europe, and its military spending was the highest in the European Union relative to the country's GDP, reaching twice the European average. In 2013, Greece had the second biggest defense spending in NATO as a percentage of the GDP after the US. Next,
The Greek government debt crisis was the sovereign debt crisis faced by Greece in the aftermath of the financial crisis of 2007 until 2008, widely known in the country as the crisis. Despite this effort, the country required bailout loans in 2010, 2012 and 2015 from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), Eurogroup and European Central Bank. On June 30, 2015, Greece became the first developed country to fail to make an IMF loan repayment on time. Payment was made with a 20 days delay. Between 2009 and 2017, the Greece government debt rose from 300 billion euro to 318 billion euro. However, during the same period, the Greek debt to GDP ratio rose up from 127% to 179% due to the severe GDP drop during handling of the crisis.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Halimatun Sadiah Binti Harun. Now I will explain about unemployment rate. First, let me elaborate what is unemployment rate.
Unemployment rate is the number of unemployed people as a percentage of the labour force, where the latter consists of the unemployed plus those in paid or self-employment. Unemployed people are those who report that they are without work, that they are available for work, and that they have taken active steps to find work in the last 4 weeks. When unemployment rate is high, some people become discouraged and stop looking for work. They are then excluded from the labour force. This implies that the employment rate may fall or stop rising even though there has been no underlying improvement in the labour market. Refer to the country chosen, which is Greece. The seasonally adjusted employment rate in Greece dropped to 16.7% in August of 2019 from 16.9% in the previous month, and compared with 18.9% in the August of 2018. This is the lowest unemployment rate since April of 2011.
Unemployment rate in Greece averaged 16.27% from 1998 until 2019,
reaching an all-time high of 27.8% in July of 2013, and a record low of 7.3% in May 2008. However, the highest unemployment rate in Greece was July and September of 2013, which is the unemployment rate is 27.8%. We move to the causes of unemployment rate in Greece. The youth unemployment rate in Greece has reached tremendously high level, and it's resulting in the growth of poverty among young Greeks. In addition to stunting the development of Greek economy, as of May 2017, the young unemployment rate in Greece reached a staggering 46%.
This rate means that roughly half of the Greek youth population are unable to find employment opportunities. Looking at the high rate of youth unemployment, one factor can be seen as its primary causes is Greek debt.
In 2011, due to its ballooning debt level and fears that Greece would default on its debt,
European counterparts were forced to give Greece a bailout package of 109 billion euro. As part of the loan, however, major credit rating agencies gave Greece a rating along with the disclaimer saying that there would be a substantial risk of default on Greek debt.